going on, everyone? James Harden and Bradley Beal have officially opted out of their contracts and are now free agents. James Harden with the Philadelphia 76ers, Bradley Beal with the Washington Wizards. Now, the big question is what is going to happen and what is going to develop? Which teams will they land on? Where are they going to go? Well, to start off with James Harden isn't leaving Philadelphia. This was the plan all along. The goal was to opt out, sign a new long-term contract, and add a little flexibility so Philadelphia could go and get some other pieces to try to build the best contender possible around Embiid and James Harden. So James Harden, this just kind of fit exactly what the plan was. I don't think James Harden is going to go elsewhere. That doesn't mean that teams won't try. It doesn't mean that teams won't, throw an offer out there and say, hey, we'll give you more money. But I think there is a lot of concerns with James Harden because the James Harden we saw last year had a very deep decline. And now he himself has stated that, he was injured and that, he's gotten his body right and he's going to have you're going to see a new James Harden like anything you've ever seen before. And maybe that is the case. Maybe that is something. Philadelphia, they are the team. They don't really have a choice. They have to take on James Harden and they have to hope that he can be the James Harden of old, at least the Houston Rockets James Harden. If he could be, even 80% of his former self, I think is good enough, especially when you have other pieces around the Philadelphia 76ers, plus whatever else they're able to get, whatever they are able to obtain. Morey, he's not a guy that is shy about giving up draft picks and doing whatever is necessary. He is a let's push all the chips to the table kind of guy. So I do imagine that the Philadelphia 76ers do have some moves in mind. We'll make some changes. We'll add some players and some value. They did move off of Danny Green and things like that. Not just that, but this adds so much more flexibility now that James Harden has opted out and will sign a longer-term deal. I don't imagine it's going to be a max. I think it'll be likely a 3 or 4 year deal. That seems to be the idea, and hopefully James Harden can return to form. Now, when it comes to Bradley Beal, this is where it gets really interesting. And this is something I've talked about here on this channel countless times with Bradley Beal. Because Bradley Beal, yes, he could sign a 5-year max, but he could have done that regardless and still opted in. So he could have opted into his money, got his $36.6 million, and then immediately signed the contract extension for 5 years, whatever. There are ways that he could have left. He basically just left $36 million on the table. And he has been very public as of late about his desire to win. How he doesn't care about the money. He wants to do what's best for his family. Now, his wife is a model in LA. So there's been all these rumors that he wants to go to the Lakers or he wants to go to, the Clippers or something along those lines. He could very well end up on the West Coast to kind of be in a better position, but also to be a part of, his wife and her business and her career and things like that. So this, if you're a Wizards fan, has to scare you because he didn't opt out and then immediately sign a contract. We have another day that has passed and it looks like he hasn't signed the contract. Now, at any point he could, as you're watching this video, there may be a report that Bradley Beal has signed an extension, has signed the 5-year deal or whatever. But the problem is the Wizards, they don't have a lot of options. The Wizards don't have any young star-studded players that really add excitement. They did make a trade. They did get, Monte Morris, and, they did get swapped out some pieces that they didn't really need, but that doesn't move the needle. They didn't get any deals or do anything that really helps and really entices Bradley Beal to stay with the Washington Wizards. And I don't think Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis, even if it's the best Kristaps Porzingis we've ever gotten, I don't think is good enough to be a title contender. I don't even know if that's good enough to be a playoff team in the Eastern Conference. And just think of how deep the Eastern Conference is now. This isn't the Eastern Conference of old. And so the Wizards are in a very awkward place because they don't really have assets to go and acquire another star that people want and people are excited to receive. And they don't have the cap space to go sign another star. Even Bradley Beal himself has expressed how hard it's been and how much he has tried to recruit to the Washington Wizards, and no one wants to come because it's not a sought-after market. And Bradley Beal is good. Don't get me wrong. He is a great player, but he's not a guy that is so good. It's like, man, if I go there, me and him together are a championship team. You're not talking about Kevin Durant to where if you got somebody, anybody could go if you're just a mid-tier player and you're automatically a contender because Kevin Durant's that good. So it's like, how do you, if you're the Wizards, how do you show Bradley Beal that you want to contend, that you want to win, when all your moves are just little marginal moves that don't really affect you one way or another? And on top of that, you're strapped with cap. You don't have any money to spend. You don't have really any quality assets that people see and go, God, I'd love to have that guy on my team. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. You got rid of KCP, and that was a huge guy for you, right? I mean, yes, the pieces that they got maybe kind of help and contribute more, but I don't know. It's just even the move today was very suspect. And now you run the risk of Bradley Beal not opting in, and he, is now a free agent to go wherever he wants. Luckily for the Wizards, there aren't a lot of options for Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal, I don't think, is going to go to a Detroit or something like that where these teams have money to make it work, but that doesn't mean teams can't figure a way out, right? And that doesn't mean that Bradley Beal can't force his way to another team. Like, if Bradley Beal, let's say he really does want to go to the Lakers, right? I mean, he has this plethora of teams that could go after him. The Pelicans, the Mavs, the Heat, the Lakers, the Clippers. Let's say he wants to go to the Lakers, like I said, right? And he says, I'm going to the Lakers. I'll either sign the taxpayer mid-level, do it for a year, and then they can sign me, or you can get some assets for me, and then the Lakers can trade, Russell Westbrook and some draft picks, maybe THT, and you get back like a Kuzma and Beal, right? And then there you go. And then, the Wizards, they got 2 new draft picks. They got THT, Russell Westbrook. Hopefully, he can maybe work something out with the team. Maybe he gets bought out, or they run him for a year and then his money falls off and now they have the cap space. There's options there. But Bradley Beal now has all the power by not opting in. Where if he opted in, the Wizards, worst case scenario, the Wizards have you for a year, right? We got you for a year and now you're here. So, I mean, it just, I'm not saying that he is undoubtedly going to leave, but it just adds so much pressure to the Wizards. And they're really in a tough bind now, and they have no control because Bradley Beal could go wherever he wants. And it's very easy for him to kind of force, like, hey, I'm not going to sign with you. I'll go to this other team and sign whatever I have to sign for a year, prove it myself because that's where I want to be, and then I can re-sign a contract, especially a team like the Lakers, because Westbrook's money falls off the books. So if you're Bradley Beal, yeah, maybe I don't imagine he would do that, but you never know. I mean, stranger things have happened in the NBA. He goes and plays for $6 million a year. Not just that, he just came off an injury. Maybe he looks at it as like, I can go to the Lakers, I can make $6 million, I can sit for most of the year and then come in once I'm right, once my body's right, all of that stuff. Show everybody like, look, I'm still that Bradley Beal. Go win a championship and then they can re-sign me. I mean, again, not saying it's going to happen, but there are other teams that will make moves to acquire him. Like Miami will do whatever they have to and give up whatever they have to go get a Bradley Beal to pair with Jimmy Butler. So they'll unload Kyle Lowry to some team, throw him some draft picks so that way they can free up the cap to sign Bradley Beal. I mean, there are ways for teams to do that. The Pelicans would be an interesting location and drop. Dallas Mavericks, they have moves, especially with Brunson. They could do a sign and trade with Brunson. I mean, there's a lot of options that open up for Bradley Beal if he wants to go to those locations. And the Washington Wizards are kind of just stuck. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think happens with Bradley Beal? Do you think Bradley Beal re-signs that 5-year max with the Washington Wizards? There are reports and rumors going around that that's the case, that he was going to opt out. He was going to sign that 5-year max. Once he signs that 5-year max, then he'll make his decision on whether he wants to leave or not, and then the Wizards can trade for him or trade him. That is another possibility that's out there. But my point is that Washington doesn't really have any flexibility, and they don't have any leverage here because Bradley Beal took away all of that leverage. So I don't know. It's a tough spot if you're the Wizards. But, what do you think? Do you think Bradley Beal goes elsewhere? Do you think he stays? What do you think happens with James Harden? Do you think, he's sticking to the plan. He ain't going anywhere. He ain't leaving the Sixers. He's going to re-sign with the Sixers. They're going to get more flexibility, and then they're going to be able to build a real contender around these two. And you still have Maxey, stuff like that. I mean, Philadelphia is in a tremendous spot in and of itself as well. I'm curious to see, especially if they can get James Harden back to being James Harden. If he can get back to being James Harden, that team is scary. But love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.